CalazCon is a show about war, obsession, colonialist occupation, and the many forms of violence those inflict. See the description for content warnings specific to this episode.
Thin Ice feels like a shotgun under the bar kind of bartender.
I was ordered to send them on a suicide mission.
I've got to be honest with you, Julius. That was real fucking stupid.
I think I see the red glow, and I literally just say, this seems ominous.
You have all of this history. Where do you want to be? I have no right to keep you here.
Lilac Luster is a tiny fragment, like less than a 1% of another long reach.
Entanglement.
I'm honestly still very much in favour of the entanglement, also concerning Ipsay. I don't know what your thoughts were.
Yeah, that's all good.
Yeah, because in some ways I sort of feel like, despite Julius's background, the whole, like, is Julius a traitor thing is, like, in some ways a solved issue for him personally, but I think it could be interesting to see that suspicion causing problems for someone completely different.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're happy with that, then and if that makes sense to you, Sabiel, I think you might be at your mic.
Hi, I just got here. What makes sense?
For the entanglement to also be Ipsay getting interrogated, because to be clear, it's not just interrogated on like we've heard a lot of the rank and file talking about Julius executing someone in cold blood, but I think there's also going to be an angle of hey, we've heard that you and Julius took a private taxi journey with a member of the Gervangelian military.
Yeah, that did happen.
Yeah.
So what are we doing about it?
So here's what I think this looks like. You're all out about your like usual duties and so on in at the end of the line when over the comms comes the voice of Birdie, says something like, unidentified vehicle on approach. If it's a threat, then I don't Fuck it, you have a look. And you all sort of like go into like the camera feed or maybe like just look out the window. And there is a van. There is a woman leaning out of the window. And the woman just like yells up towards like your compound's front gates and says, "Hi! Did someone order pizza?"
Oh no. Oh no.
What do you do?
I think there's probably some communication chatter about, did someone order pizza? I wouldn't put it past us.
Sorry, silly me. I didn't realise that you'd left this unlocked. You had not left that gate unlocked.
Also, there's artillery just going off everywhere. That's completely nonplussed about it. Just like
This woman is flanked by 3, so I can't get art assets for this one because I think if I try to make them visible on the Roll20, my laptop will implode. But like a brown-skinned, kind of quietly smug-looking woman with dark, wavy hair tied back, dark brown eyes, and these very thin, arched eyebrows, and this sort of constant, barely a smile etched on her face.
And you said she's flanked by something?
Yeah, she's flanked by 3 nondescripts. Like they just have the archetypal look of pizza delivery boys. Aside from the fact that they're in a war zone, they look like this is their part-time weekend job after college and stuff. They look like they got their driving license last week. And they're all carrying, like, big stacks of pizza in each hand.
Which pizza company is this from?
Pizza.
I'll give you
Oh,
one.
it's from
Cliff.
Pizza. I see. Michael's like, if I did order pizza, it probably wouldn't be from there.
Oh, the front door's not locked either. Gosh, if...
Okay, someone
Birdie.
should go and greet this
Birdie,
woman.
get down there.
Yeah.
If this is the early birds again, shoot them.
It's not my field of expertise, but some people in your establishment might be worried about your military security.
Ma'am, what
Wouldn't
do
be
you
me,
want?
though.
You can just leave those outside.
Yeah, I'm going down with the boys.
Yeah,
to
I
see
think
what
I
the
think
fuck.
I'm certainly joining with the lads.
I was moving once the first door was unlocked, yeah.
There is some, incompetent, waffling from Renee Standing Stone over the comms about, yes, I suppose it is movie night, or it was. I was waiting to hear from someone, but, how did you? I mean, how did they know that?
That's a trick, sir.
So everyone is gathering in the front lobby.
Yeah.
Okay. It's as soon as you show up, this woman's eyes light up. She claps her hands together and says, yes. I believe, if you want to excuse me, it is your name on the invoice that we need to sign. If you could just come with me to review and check the goods are in order. We take our quality assurance very seriously. These people are trying to remove Ipse.
Yes. My understanding of this entanglement is, that is what it is, the debriefing.
Yes.
Yeah, it's wild, actually. It just says in the rulebook, these guys kidnapped Ipse. Wow.
Just
Well, I guess we're gonna have a new pilot next mission, guys.
To be clear to our listeners, this is the squad's entanglement for this downtime. Debriefing. One of your superiors questions your squad. They grill one of your pilots or a cohort. Make a fortune roll using the squad's tier to see how well they resist. So depending on how this goes for you, you could get level 2 harm, -2 trust with the DFS, or, if you roll a 6, nothing. Alternatively, you can waive making that roll at all by bribing the grunts who grab Ipse with 1 personnel.
Oh, I mean, I think we gotta bribe them.
Only 1 personnel?
mechanically, bribing is fun, but interesting. It depends how interested you are in having a scene in which you got, because I'd be fine with spending a personnel.
We got lots.
Yeah, I mean, I think mechanically I'm also, down to spend the personnel here. The options are pretty bad. Also just want to do an out-of-character question quickly. What is our awareness of pizza/pizza?
I mean, maybe pizza joints on this planet just go around kidnapping people. I guess I don't know, but...
Yeah. Active rumor that Zero Accountability, the ZA in pizza, was reactivated, but nobody really knows what we're up to, with an extra side of, wow, the legendary spycraft unit can't possibly be these chumps, right? Okay, I think I know what this looks like. So, to answer your question of to what extent you're aware of what's going on, I think as you're all reaching in befuddlement, I think Birdie is about to draw his sidearm. One of you is probably about to press the alarm button or something. You know that something is up because from the sheer succinctness and precision of it, you hear Renee Standing Stone in your comms say, "Let them. Do not get in their way. Let them." And I think that's when that rumor that the notorious Wetwork Unit Zero Accountability has been reactivated sort of rings in your mind again.
Still, I'm not keen on... I think Mike's hands go into his sidearm as well. Mike is not keen on his friend Ipse being taken away by pizza delivery people.
I've sort of stepped into a side room and I'm conducting a hushed conversation with Renee.
Oh yeah? What are you saying?
Are they likely to respond to bribery?
I couldn't,
Renee?
If they were, then I certainly don't think that would be, in, good faith with the bond that they've struck with the DFS command.
Renee,
So
I will come
don't-
to movie night if you stop bullshitting me.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes,
that will
they
be
are,
all.
they are
I
struggling.
have turned off my my communicator or whatever after he said yes. I did not hear the rest of what he said.
Okay, so meanwhile, Itse, how are you responding to being asked to, like, step aside and check this invoice for them?
So, in my reading of the entanglement, it's pretty, I would say, vague as to what the actual personnel spending represents doing. Is that right, from my memory?
Personnel is like more like favors and stuff, flavored that.
That's what I mean, yeah.
We could get them drunk at the local, about our friendly bar. That's usually a good way of trading in favors that way. Like, in character, I do also want to get a scene, like, I think at the very least Michael and possibly some of, like, Board Squadron have actually stepped forward in a kind of, I guess particularly Board Squadron, because you've got a good relationship with them, like, kind of stepping forward to protect you, or at least get that visual.
I have a really stupid idea.
Sure.
Maybe you have, like, a really promising franchise location for this aspiring, like, startup company. A bar that you think could really use just some high-quality food services.
I don't know if I like that. Here's the thing. I think my dilemma here is that in character, I think Ipse is quite likely to cooperate, is the thing.
Yeah.
I don't like letting the spies in our bar.
Yeah. In character, Ipse can, like, want to go along with it, and, like, the rest of the squad, like, because thinking about it, my belief about Ipse is it's naive to think you can change the war, so perhaps there is an element of, like, you know, thinking there is a degree of naivety there and, like, stepping in the way to be like, no, do not trust these people. Like, we could just let Renee handle it? No.
Yeah, sure. Well, okay, let's play that out. I think I'm in this tense room. I'm gonna take a couple of steps forward. No weapons or anything.
Oh no, Mike definitely steps forward again. Like no. And I don't know if Board Squadron do as well. Like we kind of make a line in front and go no.
Yeah. Sounds likely. Yeah.
Because
yeah, you hear me say like this is, and then I just trail off a little bit.
This is fucking sketchy is what this is. Ipse, listen, and like, I don't know if Michael knows so much about ZA or any of that side of things, but he's like, listen, Ipse, whatever you do, don't let them take you to a secondary location. This is of prime importance. And this is also especially after, we had the issue of the early birds, like, last downtime. Like, people rocking up into the base unannounced, getting through security, like, it's starting to piss Mike off. I don't know if it's pissing other people off as well, but it's just like, no, you're got to get out of here. I'm afraid you've been prank called.
Unless Pizza has anything to say for themselves, I'd like to re-enter the scene.
Go ahead. Yeah, what does that look like?
Yeah, no, Julius comes back in, right, like quietly folding the headset back into his pocket. All right, friends, this is perfectly resolvable. I understand that you take and there's just like a big eye roll, a big like, I cannot fucking believe I am engaging with this on this level. Quality assurance very seriously. However, you will find we are in a position to tip very well.
Oh, that would be so generous of you.
Yes, we've recently... Actually, you know what? I don't say that bit, because I don't want to tell these fucking people anything about what our resources are. They're bad news. Ipse doesn't have to go anywhere. You would leave here with a favor that can be called in at your leisure. A minor favor, to be clear.
That's so considerate of you. Your loyalty and kindness to the pizza brand has been noted.
Yes,
Lieutenant Thermidor.
Delightful. Sergeant Dox, please take your hand off your knife.
Didn't realize I was still doing that. Sorry.
Yes. Is that everything?
That should suffice. Our customer service team will be in touch.
Just like tight smile, and then he takes his headset out again to report to Renee that the issue's been handled.
Thank you. I mean, I knew you had it, of course, but thank you.
Right.
I think as they're filing out, Mike kind of like, obviously there's a vibe here that's going on. There's something that Mike hasn't picked up, but as they're going, Mike does yell out, and up your goddamn, your topping to grease ratio is fucking off, by the way.
Oh no!
Yeah, they better, man.
Great. Speaking of how very aggressive all your entanglements have been, it is very funny how the front line, an FOB at the front line, have neither the hidden FOB nor secure FOB upgrades.
Yeah, we might want to take some of those
You think?
if we're at war.
Yeah.
So I would like to cut loose, especially
Yeah.
after that experience.
Who with?
I am going to cut loose with Mike.
All right.
That's my plan. I think this is maybe later that day after pizza showed up. I'm probably still trying to catch Mike in sort of work shift time.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to find you when you're like on your own like personal time.
For sure. Like, I think this could be teamed up with any, like, there's some ongoing stuff. Like, Mike's going to be taking a long-term project probably to be looking at this AI core, so we could do it around that as the framing, if you'd like.
I think this is before I've really helped you out with that significantly.
Oh no, like him doing his initial
yeah.
checks of it, like he's getting ready to, like, he's kind of just sitting there looking at it. He's not really got his tools out yet.
Yeah, so I approach and I say, Burnout, I know you're busy, but I had a personal matter I require some assistance with.
Yeah? Sure, the new cockpit's working out fine for you? Should be able to get a little bit more juice out of it if we take out some of the limiters, as it were.
Yes, I think the results will be extremely effective. But I had a manner regarding, my other frame that I thought you might be able to assist with.
Oh, sure. Come into my office. It is not an office. It is,
Yep.
a box is moved out of the way, and we go behind a slightly out of the way stack of boxes, and the boxes are pulled back behind you in a way that is not particularly secure, but has at least some privacy.
I say, I sort of reach into one of my little satchel pouches and pull out a couple of fuel cells, basically. They're fairly big, maybe the size of, like a water flask, and got these, like, ports at the end, imagining, like, a glass casing as well. And I say, I'm usually rather self-sufficient. I've been taking care of myself with refueling issues for a while, but there appears to be some sort of fault in the mechanism, and I thought you might be able to assist me.
Oh, yeah, sure. Mike picks up, takes a look at it, and is like, what are these? The, Bell-Jolt Mark IIIs? Yeah, sometimes they can start losing charge. The screws on the inside aren't quite as lined up as they should be. At least that's what I heard. Yeah, I gotta be honest, he sort of looks a bit uncomfortable. I was never really sure how to, phrase this energy aspect with you. I figured bring it up be kind of rude, but I'm glad you could feel like you can come to me and trust me with this, Ips. I appreciate that, especially after that situation before with those pizza fucks. Like, pats you on the shoulder. It's important to have people around you can trust.
I appreciated you standing up for me, Van, and all the help you've given me with the Blade of Liberty. I knew I could trust you to help with this too. If you wouldn't mind, could you assist me in trying to replace my current fuel? It should only take a minute, but as I said, I can't seem to work it out myself right now.
Sure. So, Michael starts looking nervous again. So, what do you need me to do? You want me to, like, okay, it's you got to level with me here. We're buddies, right?
It should be quite intuitive for you.
Because it looks like I've got to, just get it. I just need to get it in there, right?
I'll do as much as I can to assist. I turn around and the back armor plate on my torso separates down the middle and sort of swings open, almost like a beetle's wing case. And you can suddenly see a lot more of the internal mechanisms and parts. And in there is a space with a largely depleted fuel cell.
I see. Yeah. Mike is kind of sweating at this point because this is obviously a very vulnerable moment for you, and he's aware of what that kind of represents. Yeah, okay. And as well as being very impressed by this mechanism coming out, there's some smooth joints in focus. And yeah, I think as someone who has got like the abilities that Mike has, he'll be able to spot where the sort of release catches would be. And it's like, presses a couple of them.
Yeah, I'll give you some more detail as well, actually. So because you're able to see parts and diagnose things.
Yeah.
There's a lot of this internal section of me. It's like very obviously more Exodus Republic parts from various corporatocracy manufacturers. But also in amongst there, you can tell that someone's been in here before and there's like bodged repairs. Someone who definitely knew a lot less than you about what to do with machines. So there's like some scratch marks, some like tools that have clearly been used wrong on some of the bolts in here.
There's an audible tut from Mike when he sees these.
Yeah, like really janky soldering on a few wires and like awful attempts at cable management done with like red and yellow electrical tape.
Yeah, you used to have someone else to help you out with this, bud?
Yes, that was some time ago.
Huh. Like, I've got to be honest, they didn't do the best of jobs. But, if you get a free moment, I think I could, probably tidy a couple of these up as well.
No, that won't be necessary. Please, if you would just check for release catch and replace the cell, that would be ideal.
I imagine there's some kind of like hiss as it comes out and...
yeah, definitely a hissing noise.
Yeah. Mike takes the full one, takes a quick look at it, like a little screw comes out of his like engineering glove and there's like a little bit of tightening. Done very, very incremental things just to tighten this up slightly. Should hold a little bit better before it's placed back in. Mike being significantly more ginger than he would be, like, in general, like, because, you know, he doesn't wreck mechs when he's doing it, but he's also aware that, like, have we gone into how frequent it is to have, like, artificial people around? Because Mike might have met one or two, but, like...
I don't think we've really said, but yeah, I mean... My imagination is it varies depending on where you are in the DFS.
And, well, Michael seems pretty well travelled as part of his military career, so I would say, they're, like, not everywhere, but reasonably common, and Michael has had reason to meet more than most. Would that make sense?
Yeah, that would make sense. But he's also aware that this is quite a... Oh, God, if this is Michael, the reason he's probably overcorrecting because he's done this before but was kind of an asshole about it, like, asking too many questions. And so he's, like... being very much like, okay, let's get this right. So, yeah, like, puts it back in. Hopefully it would seem that this has worked.
Yeah, there's probably like a little indicator light like next to the fuel cell space, and that kind of like, flickers green as you replace the fuel cell. I say, yes, that seems to have fitted well, thank you.
All right.
Hand clear, please.
Oop. Big step back.
And I close back. That armor plating articulates back into position, closes back over itself. The seam is almost invisible when the armor plating's closed.
Mike gives an approving nod at the mechanism coming together.
So, yes. I'd maybe appreciate you not mentioning this to everybody.
Hey.
I prefer people to think that I'm more self-sufficient.
No, the secret is safe with me, my friend.
Thank you, Michael.
All right.
And I think that's me done.
Great. How much stress did you relieve from that?
So, because I am purpose-built, when I cut loose, I must reference refueling. I don't roll. Instead, I heal stress equal to 5 minus the number of scars I have.
Nice.
That is 5 stress, which is exactly how much I had.
Someone's got to take a scar.
Nice, clean
They're
stress
fun.
bar for me.
It's fun to have on screen. It's just a good time.
Yeah.
I think he might be volunteering.
Listen, of course I'm volunteering. I just think it would be, almost obvious for it to be Julius.
Don't worry, I mean, I may have just cleared that bar, but I'm fully gonna gun it next time I get a chance, so we'll see.
I'd like to do some stuff outside of my mech, actually. I think that would be fun.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
I'm going in with 3 stress for next one, so we'll see.
Can I do a quick extra downtime action?
I should still write a new belief about Michael.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Remind us what beliefs you've got so far.
So right now I have Michael's youthful spirit is a chance for me to see the world differently.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm literally going to add Michael can be trusted with secrets.
I want to get beat up by the sergeant again, because I want to train.
Alright, yeah.
Actually, I think that's how I would like to frame it. I'd like to figure out wherever Birdie is and just sort of, like, find him and just say, well, Sergeant Ox, it appears we're having a little bit of difficulty for the 501st, so that means that I'd like you to beat me until I remember how to fight.
You're sure? You are aware I might have...
Extremely.
I might have been going a little easy on you last time, old man.
Oh, well, I wouldn't want that.
No, I know, you're just a sorry enough sight that even I can't help myself.
I think this is a little funny to Julius.
But, if you insist...
So, I actually have a point in struggle, which means I think it goes a little better this time. We have prowess training, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Nice. So that is 2 XP. And yeah, no, like, I don't think I win.
No.
Any of them. But I think I do, like, you know, it isn't an embarrassment like it was the
That's
first
something.
time.
We'll take that. How close are you to getting a level in that?
Oh, not close at all, but very close in a different thing. So I'm just sort of trying to spread out my XP as much as possible.
Gotcha. Okay, so we're left with an action each from Michael, True, and Itse. Any of you got something on your mind?
I've got something. I might be thinking about taking some additional actions after that, maybe. But, yeah, for the time being, I think having it pop up this time, I wouldn't mind taking a look at this AI core. I think if there's a long-term project related to that, we should probably get it started.
Well, tell me what you want to do with it. Like, what's your goal?
So we know what this... we know it's an AR core. We know it's... I guess, is it still causing, like, the AR disruption around it, or have we been able to, like, turn that down a certain degree? Just by taking it out of...
I don't think that it is. No. But although I would also say you haven't really cracked this thing open all that much at all, I would say you don't know why. You don't know if that means it's no longer capable. You don't know what might make it, if anything, might make it regime.
I think what we need to do is we need to integrate this AI core into some kind of test environment. Basically, plug it into something air-gapped and see if we can actually get in there and see what's going with, like, diagnostic equipment, if that makes sense.
Very good suggestion from Philo in chat, who says, yeah, we could put it in a mech.
If we get a spare mech, we might think about that.
Just turn off the Wi-Fi on it and it'll be fine. It's air-gapped.
Oh.
I mean, it'll still have a gun, but
I've just realised something. There's a piece of load that I haven't declared yet that the tuner gets, which is your mundane vehicle. So, as well as my mech, I get, like, my personal daily use vehicle. It's either fast and load 0 or slow and load 1, and has, like, temporary mundane vehicles. I could try and install it into, like, my van. I think that would make sense if it was installed in the thing that is slow and has load 1, because that is the thing it's not really come up before. I think it is the van that Michael was driving around, like, before he could get the Vector Mantis together, and usually it's for keeping all of his, like... Yeah, because it would have, like, temporary diagnostic equipment in there, because that's what he was using before we got the, like, it's his mobile kind of repair place. So I'm not going to declare the load, because that might happen out, but it's got that kind of thing into it, and I think, yeah, let's see if we can install this AI core into the diagnostic, and it would be air-gapped as well, because it's a separate van. Yeah, let's do this, if that makes sense to folks.
Okay, I'm very much in favour of you doing this. Let me think. Throughout this downtime, you've played Michael's been, like, very driven and distracted by this little puzzle and other various little puzzles.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, here's what I'll say. I think this is a really fun and interesting decision. It is not necessarily, or even likely, to immediately fuck you, but it's going to go that could go some very interesting places. I think this should be framed as Michael, like, getting overexcited about cool tech stuff and rushing in without thinking.
Sure.
Okay, so just, like, bear that in mind. If you're happy with that, then, like, I say start at 4 o'clock and let's
start
go.
At 4 o'clock. Okay, yeah, like, I don't take yourself... If this is going to lead to some interesting narrative stuff, let's do it. So this is a 4-step clock, integrate AI core, and Michael isn't completely stupid. He is going to be using failsafes. The idea is he is putting it in an air-gapped thing. This just happens to be... He'd rather do it here than in anything that's even remotely connected to the base. This is not the worst place to do it, but we need to get into this somehow, right? And, like, at least this is the way he's justifying it to himself. You know what I mean? And it should let us get, there's diagnostic equipment there. We'll be able to see what's going on with it. This is all be fine.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, go for it.
Is there someone here able to assist with this?
I'm certainly happy to.
Yeah.
And we discussed it earlier.
We did. And Mike's going to explain this to you. Listen, we're going to get it into this test bed. This is what I used to use before we got the testing suite in here. And, push comes to shove, frankly, we can just shove this van out of the base, right? So we need to figure out what's going on. I think this is an interface role, if that makes sense. It could be in engineering, but I've got the same amount of dots, so...
Interface definitely works for me, yeah.
And with an assist.
Mm-hmm.
That's a crit, that's 661. That fills the clock immediately, because it's 5 ticks in the 4 step.
Oh, wow.
Love to see it.
It certainly does. Okay.
Love to see it.
What does this look like?
Apologies if you wanted a little bit of time to think about that. The dice do what the dice do.
No.
Congratulations, your van is now sentient. Please do not resist.
I'm just posting something in the GM discussion chat, don't worry about it.
No,
sure,
because that's definitely a thing that you don't worry about.
Hi, fellow GMs. How does one handle a sentient van?
I don't know why any of you are worried.
This is going to be an item that's come up in other games, isn't it?
New NPC, sentient van, just to make sure you add that to your roster.
Every other squad in the game also has a sentient van.
Great.
Every squad found an AI core.
Mm-hmm.
Some other squads have been doing stuff with Curse, I believe, so...
Oh, there you go.
So, yeah, do you install this thing and you sort of... I know this is very corny, but I did describe a UFO, dome-like thing. Is it embedded in the steering wheel?
I was thinking this was going to be more, in the back. Well, you kind of know more about this than I do, so where would be... would that make sense if it was instead of the steering wheel?
I'm very happy with the back. I was purely going on aesthetic vibes.
There's all these computer banks and stuff in the back of this van. It's like your typical white van, but I think it's got a cool airbrushed wizard on the side of it or something, I guess. And
Yes.
and it's basically just in there. Is it does it float or is it need to be on top of something?
I think it needs to be embedded or on something, yeah.
I think it's on one of the workbenches in there. There's a whole bunch of additional cables being plugged into it. Even if they're not being plugged in directly, there's little suckers or magnetic things, so you get that vibe. There's all these kind of things around. There's a bunch of computer monitors next to it with stuff scrolling down. We're trying to get some kind of interface to it, right? So we can run diagnostic screenings or something like that.
Okay. Are you trying to communicate? Are you trying to get a sense of its sensors of what it's actively doing?
Yeah, I guess what is its prime directive? If such a thing is able to be figured out, what is it actually trying to do? What's its motivation? If I can, the equivalent of getting into the root directory and seeing if there's any readmes there. You know what I mean?
Okay. So the sense you get is that it is in a sort of learning state. It is in a state of receive incoming stimuli and adapt and adjust its learning model. So it's not actively doing anything. It is in a stage of self-development. The intelligence model is still learning, which makes sense because that means that presumably when it was learning from this environment of the curse, it was exchanging data, and that's how it ended up causing that corruption, and that's presumably why Force Majeure seemed unaware of it, or it seemed to genuinely be an unintentional byproduct of what the Fiber First was doing there. This is also interesting because it means that some of the last data that it has is your mission has been incorporated into its learning model. You are data for it.
Don't like that.
Yeah.
To what end, I guess? I guess, to what end is it doing this for, and how does this interact with its Lavender Luster, right?
With Lilac Luster.
Lilac Luster, that's it, sorry.
Yeah, are you aware of the full, details on, what or who Lilac Luster is? Have you and True had that conversation yet?
I don't know if we would have had the full conversation, but it might be that something got mentioned. I guess that's, Philo, any...
I think, I definitely called out in True's scene that she was reading off of some of Michael's notes regarding Lilac. I think True does trust Michael. So, yeah,
he might not be fully up to speed on, like, the in-depth conversation from the action that filled the clock, but maybe he knows a little bit from, like, the three ticks.
Right.
So it's mostly about, like, for some reason, True was trying to look up Calazar Wikipedia's identity.
Okay. Well, then I think you get the, you realize that there's another, like, learning data set, and from a cursory examination, it is a whole lot of Calazar content. So, there's some attempt to combine immediate environs with Calazar stuff, and with what you know from, like, Luster, I guess your understanding of it at this point aligns with what I said previously, which is Lilac Luster is a proxy from the curse who was, like, corrupted by the data exchange. Like, when this AI learned from him, some of the AI also got into Lilac Luster and, like, updated his DFS military stuff. So he thought that he was, like, a contemporary soldier in the current conflict.
Like, I'd definitely be cluing True in on this, so we could get the scene that, like, True is actually reading some of this at the same time. And if True thinks that Lilac should be in this scene too to be seeing it, he can be here as well.
Okay.
True, if you think that's what you'd do.
Were you planning to have some kind of a scene
I think
together? Like, that we can roll this into?
I think I was intending on cut loosing at some point anyway, but probably not doing stuff, and especially not with Lilac.
Right, okay. So, I presume this is probably when, Michael, you get filled in on the other half of the Lilac Luster story, like what happened when True finished that project. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So this sort of gets at what I was talking about earlier about rashness, because I think, Michael, you know, you're the technical guy. I think this occurs to you before it occurs to True, as they're explaining this to you. If Lilac Luster is less than 1% of another long reach, where are they going to put the whole 100%?
Oh, that's fun.
Matt had perhaps picked up that thing but hadn't mentioned it. It's like, yeah, okay.
Philo hadn't.
Yep. Is this the other 99%?
You don't know to what extent it is fully, like, realized and assembled, but it is certainly, like, on the way. It's like, this sort of recontextualizes Lilac Luster as like, Lilac Luster is not like a tiny bit of a long reach that could grow into another long reach. Lilac Luster is like a tiny bit of a semi-assembled long reach that somehow got loose.
Interesting. And presumably, within this test rig, we've got enough to, at least unless, like, other consequences or something happened, this would be able to, like, we can potentially, with it being hooked up, like, if it starts to AR corrupt the base, we could, or at least Mike thinks he would be able to stop it from doing so using, you know, whatever test bed is there.
I'd say so, yeah. So, when you realise this, do you point this out to True?
Yes.
Okay.
Because we won't have had the conversation that True would have had with Longreach. Probably. But yeah, I think Mike also trusts True. Like, you know, Mike's belief with True is like, I can't lose her again, I need to get her out. Like, this is, you wouldn't lie about stuff.
I think True immediately leaves upon being told.
Is Longreach there?
No.
Right. Good. Good. Leaves us in like, I can't hear any more of this, or leaves us in like, angry?
Leaves us in like, not even I can't hear any more of this, but I need a minute.
Yep, that's fair.
Which also mirrors what Mike's been doing to Julius this whole time. Did you have an idea of mechanically what filling this clock might represent?
I think what it represents, this depends on what you decide you want to do with the fact that you have this in your possession. Things that could occur to you. You presumably have a very valuable resource. A resource that, this AI core, this machine, is some way of a journey towards becoming sentient. Some people would view it, nonetheless, as a valuable resource, or a source of intelligence, or something to bargain with. Some other people, I have a feeling this might be where Michael lies, would think, well, the best way to stop it from being another long reach is to hijack the process and finish it ourselves. In which case the answer is, you've got access to another clock to try to steer this thing off the course it was from, into a different kind of artificial intelligence on your terms.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I think some people might be quite hard to talk around on that one, though.
Sure.
The other option is you have some intelligence, you have like some information on, presumably the 501st wanted to use this for something, you maybe can find out more.
How big would the clock be for changing this AI into something different than another long reach, but perhaps also something potentially weapon adjacent for fucking up the 501st?
I was going to say, there is a fourth option here, which is make another long reach, right?
Yes. Yes, that is an option.
Seems like that might be a problem with some people.
I wouldn't know anything about that.
I'm definitely leaning towards the, this is an interesting puzzle to solve, alongside getting some information from the 501st. I was also wondering if this and the other clock that True filled, are we at a point where we could get Lilac as a cohort? I think that might be interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Personally, I think Lilac is still at a stage where they're questioning quite a lot about themselves. You'll notice that during True scenes, I was very much not being like, oh, and come be a soldier, and, you know, in my mind, they're kind of support staff and would probably be around the base, and True can give them stuff to do. But, like, you know, there's a difference between that and a cohort, right?
Yeah.
But there's also a difference between True and Mike.
Well, true.
And I mean, yeah, that's another wrinkle in this situation, which is like, you told Lilac that if you figured out a way to like let them reintegrate back into the dream, the like world of fictions that you exposed, and you weren't sure how to do it, you know how to do it now.
And you also told Longreach that you would kill them.
Not exactly.
As a last resort.
Yes.
God.
So, I guess when I say, are they a cohort? But what I'm interested in is them being a long-standing, like, someone we can come back to in the squad, and making them, like, a specialist cohort where their specialization is something not frontline based, to kind of mechanize the fact that they're an interesting wrinkle in the dynamics. But if we just want to say, like, that's there and that's happening without them being a mechanical cohort that we can necessarily lean on or use, that's also fine.
I think it depends on what you decide to do with this. Like, you could talk, like, Lust around on staying with you as, like, and, like, adjusting to the reality of the modern DFS military and, like, being with you in that sense. I also wouldn't rule out, for example, if you do decide to keep working on this AI core, I think there's a scenario where, like, Luster becomes, like, the personality of this AI core.
I think that's kind of what I'm leaning towards. But I think we can make those decisions as this clock fills, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I want to be aware of how much time you have, but I also want to be aware that this is a big deal. So for this, despite our limited time frame, I'm still tempted to say 8. What do you think?
That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Maybe 6?
Sorry, go on.
Sorry, I just thought, like, yeah, it does seem like a big deal, but also, like, keeping the time frame in mind, like, 6 seems like a reasonable compromise.
Yeah, true. I guess you nearly finished at 6 o'clock last downtime alone.
I am fine with it being 8, especially because I think there are multiple people on the squad that are invested in this.
Yeah, and in any case, there still needs to be a conversation about whether you even pursue this clock. But, like, I think this is a big enough deal that, like, having a powerful but dangerous AI is, like, I wouldn't phrase it as in, like, you have this ability, but that is more or less an R&D ability. If you want it, then there has to be, like, a significant investment.
And we've got personnel we can spend if you start getting low on it. I think 8 makes sense. It's a big deal, and we can fill that as we go along. Mike/Matt is interested, at least at this point, with his giddy, childlike glee at this puzzle to solve. Like, if it becoming some kind of weapon to use against the 501st, and Mike likes Lilac well enough, and is like, yeah, you want to integrate yourself with this and become a new life form that I can help create? That's kind of cool.
We are nonetheless getting ahead of ourselves, though, because there is, I don't know when it happens, but there is definitely a conversation to be had at the bare minimum with True and Longreach about whether this, if or how this proceeds.
And I mean, I was also helping out with the integration, right?
Yeah.
I'm certainly aware of what's going on to some extent.
I'd say he's also going to have, like, When I'm saying this is what Mike intends to do.
Great. It's say you're true.
I think True needs to do something that isn't tangling with AIs for a minute.
Yeah, that sounds wise.
So can she go shout at Julius?
Okay.
That sounds good, because mine's pretty likely to come back to the AI stuff, so yeah, let's do yours first.
Is this an action, or are you just doing it for, the thrill of the game?
True's on 7 stress currently. This is me trying to
Oh,
cut
I
loose.
see. Okay, cool. I'm gonna cut loose by making my life difficult. I see how it is.
Plan was to do it with Mike. That's not happening now.
Yes.
This has become awkward.
Yes. So, same day, clearly, the lighting is the same in the shot. True's wearing the same band t-shirt underneath her, construction harness and jacket. Her trucker hats do change, depending on the day, I think. I think she has 4 or 5 of them. I think her wife just buys them as gifts sometimes if she goes traveling, which is kind of a rarity. Where does True find Julius?
Training, I think.
So, Board Squadron are just pelting him with beanbags or something like that?
No, I think he's has a punching bag.
Stop, he's already dead. No, I'm kidding. So I think True basically just manifests behind the punching bag. One moment it is Julius just clocking it, and then True, puts her hands on the punching bag and starts swinging it back at him a little bit. She is not much of a fighter, but she's kind of sturdy in that way,
Yeah, no, I mean, I think they just sort of continue like this for a while, and then winds down, right, and then is just, can I help you?
Are we going to talk about what happened last time?
Is that something that's important to you?
I mean, it's clearly important to you, isn't it?
We are soldiers. We sometimes, in the course of things, kill people.
Yeah, I've noted. That isn't a surprise, certainly.
So...
From my perspective, the enemy combatant said something, and it resulted in their untimely demise.
That's correct.
On all counts, one led to the other?
Yes.
I feel like whether you take someone's life shouldn't be dependent on what they're saying to you. I maybe thought you were a bigger man than that.
If someone told you, I'm going to find your home, and I'm going to kill your wife, would that be grounds for murder? Or, well, I suppose it's not murder if we're in the line we are.
If someone were to say such things, I would recognize it as words, and use my capable skill to disable them.
Mm-hmm. And what if that had already taken place?
Do you not believe me?
I don't. No, I do not.
You don't?
No.
So, they said they would go to your home and remove your chosen person. Or people.
No, I don't have anything like that. What if it had already happened?
Then the threat is empty, surely. If they're threatening the worst, and the worst has already happened...
Well, if it already happened and they made light of it?
Can you see why that has me struggling with how I feel about you?
I'm sorry you're having difficulty, but I personally am not.
No regrets?
Enormous regrets, but not about the mission.
The fascist cosplayer and the one you killed, they were close, yeah? Seemed to be?
It did seem to be.
So, in response to this, you put someone in the same place, same situation?
Yes. Suppose I did.
Yeah, I know we're here to kill people, Julius. I don't know. I suppose I get alarmed when people say they don't regret.
People are killed for stupid, petty reasons constantly. It is the way of the world, and it is part of my job, at least I believe, not to pretend it is otherwise. And what those people do is an embarrassment, and is an insult.
Julius, my gun is sentient.
Nod.
When the time comes for me to take a life, I must justify that to another living being. there is another hand on the trigger with mine. Yeah, people die for silly, immature, petty, pathetic reasons. But I choose to not be one of those people. I choose to not be the person taking those lives, I suppose. And I suppose part of that comes from the fact that I have long reach. That I have to be able to justify that. Was this person like that for you?
Yes.
Then I think I understand. And I think if she's not, further responded to, I think she'll leave it that. I think her teeth are gritted and her tail is bushy, and she does not look any more or any less stressed than she previously was.
I think I have one more thing I want to do.
Oh, just one more.
Just one more thing. It is impossible to fully know another person, but I believe my lieutenant would not have stopped me pulling the trigger under the circumstances. I think that you may hope they were a peaceful, shall we say, influence on me, but I think they would have been just as disgusted by the cosplayers as I am. I apologize if that's not a good answer.
Yeah, I don't think it changes True's response.
No, that's fair. That was partially just because I kind of wanted to deflate the idea that Julius has, like, a saintly dead wife or whatever.
No, totally understand.
Right? Like, I think this is someone who fully was just sort of like, yeah, sometimes you gotta fucking kill people.
Alright, well, let's roll cut loose,
Yay! Yeah, I don't even know how that qualifies. Did you go and do another thing after you did that?
I need to heal 2 stress.
Yeah.
Which I think seems very accurate.
That feels about right.
How many
Boy,
do you have
I
left?
feel so much rested after that conversation.
Oh, God.
True says, then snaps the neck of a wine glass. I'm still on 5 stress currently. Also, the truck's been melted, but it'll be fine.
Oh my god.
Okay. Cool.
Ipse, save us.
Ipse,
Yes.
come shout at Julius, it's fun. Ask him about his dead partner, it'll be great.
Me and Julius are besties
we're
now.
cool.
We killed that guy
We're
together.
Yeah.
Exactly, so I want it to be a sequential shot of Ipse then coming in and being like, so about that guy we killed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, Ipse,
That was great.
Review the play of the game
Same.
footage.
did you know my war spouse fucking died and it was my fault? Just because, everyone knows already. You should probably be aware.
Damn. So sad for
My
you.
mech wife.
Rough, buddy.
Mech wife.
Well, this is why I
Murder
had to tell you
spouse.
my gun was sent in.
Yeah.
It's a no hidden information game.
Yeah.
Speaking of no hidden information games, so I think I want to use my action to help the long-term project with the AI core, but I also feel like I want to have that conversation about it first so that we're clear on what the outcome we want is.
Oh boy.
Because
Should I move this into the squad long-term project?
I feel like it's more appropriate as a squad long-term project. Enough of the squad is invested in it to some degree.
I'm the only person not involved in this.
How are we describing this?
I think we should have an in-character conversation, and then we can decide what the long-term
Yes.
project actually is.
Good plan.
So I would like to have the scene of, I presume, myself, Mike, True, possibly Longreach, talking about this. I don't know. It depends on what True thinks.
And probably Lilac as well.
And Lilac.
That seems logical, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
For the record, I've had a new relationship with Julius. It is, when Julius's past is involved, he can't be relied upon.
Yay! I gotta come up with one for Mike.
It seems like enough of a full squad issue that, I feel like Julius is also there just because it's
Yeah, okay.
Julius gets the invite at the very
Yeah,
least.
no,
so
I'll
you're
show up
welcome.
and express bafflement about whatever
Yeah.
you're doing with robots.
We're in conference room B. We've got just the full AI core in here because the van was backed up into the garage door. The garage door? You know, the garage.
The garage.
Yeah.
Garage music.
Garage.
Garage.
Yes.
Of course, just on the table in the middle of the room.
God.
Cables going out to the van as it's...
True. If Longreach is here, have you since filled them in on, the conversation in Mike's van? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
For the record, I don't think Longreach is, tangibly here. I think True is in the room, and she has her walkie-talkie thing on her loudspeaker or whatever.
Yeah. How does this conversation begin?
I'm sure you're all wondering why I've gathered you here today.
Julius is not making eye contact with True right now.
Yeah, likewise. They are sat opposite each other.
Yeah.
It is incredibly awkward.
I think it will at least start with, and I won't go through it in character, but Mike catching everyone up to speed, I guess, if we're all here, just to make sure everyone's on the same page. Train this. This is potentially a new life form that can help us. And it's really cool.
I think True visibly winces when he's like, oh, this is such a great project.
He misses that. He wasn't looking at you when that happens.
Naturally. It's the same shot, though.
Yeah.
Theo, tell me if you think this is, not true or just, not, what you want from this scene, but, I envision this as, not to be too cliched, but a little bit as prompting Longreach's angry teenager phase.
It's not unreasonable, and, there's a reason why Longreach's drive, in particular, is ensure I am the last of my kind.
Yeah.
True's, were she to have one, is a lot more look out for them because they're family, right?
Yeah, exactly. What I'm getting at here is, do you think it makes sense, and would you be okay with Longreach butting in on the conversation right now?
Yeah, if Longreach has opinions, then I'm curious about them, right?
Yeah, because I think if you're okay with this explanation, I'm kind of thinking, you're in the workshop because Michael gathered you here, and it's basically where he lives, and because you have the AI core, which is a thing he is working on. So I think an external speaker on the truck suddenly activates, and you hear Longreach's voice say, "It's nothing new, and I've seen enough of it. You don't have to look far to see what it'll do. Or haven't you been watching your friend?"
Which friend is being referred to here?
True.
Or I guess Mike can say in character, which friend?
True, as in, haven't you been watching what your friend has been doing with one of these intelligences, i.e. Longreach?
Mike's yeah. And it's been pretty helpful, to be honest with you.
Oh my god, Mikey.
Hey, listen. What? Hello? Longreach is cool. What's the problem?
Longreach isn't cool, they're a person, Mikey.
Yeah, they're a cool person.
Oh.
I don't know. I'm not talking about the technology being cool. I like them. They're fine. They're your friends. Your friends are my friends.
You're talking about this thing like it's a project, when it could grow into a person. And I've never seen you as a dad, Mikey.
Hey.
I mean...
I could be a dad. I couldn't be a dad.
True tries to share a knowing look with Julius, then gets up out of her chair instead.
I have to agree with Michael on this point. I think that the effectiveness of what True and Longreach have been able to achieve is undeniable. What we have in front of us is another opportunity for something similar, perhaps.
Plus, True, you rescued Lilac.
How is that the same?
Well, because they're linked, right?
And?
You rescued this thing from that fuckwit slip-away bolt.
Great.
Who knows what the 501st are planning to do?
Agreed. Which is why I'm wondering why we're contemplating doing the same thing.
No, we're not planning on doing the same thing. We're planning on doing a different thing.
How different?
Well, that's what we're figuring out.
Perhaps I'm misreading the Cliff Notes, but it sounds an awful lot like what you want to do is turn this around and face it against the 501st.
Sure, yeah. And then they can do what they want.
In what way is that different?
We don't know what their plans were.
All right.
We didn't even know what they had. It's already started. It's learning. We can either guide it away from being... you want to make sure this... It's not just a weapon? Sure.
I want to make sure it's not a weapon. Ideally. Why do you think I fled the battlefield, Mikey?
It feels somewhat disingenuous to assert that a newly born intelligence, if I'm understanding this situation, this is the first time being briefed on any of it, could choose not to be a weapon in the midst of a war.
See? Once again, I agree with Julius. We need to get off this planet.
Yeah.
We all do. Right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've noticed, huge artillery thing going down. Our chances of doing that are reducing by the day. There are kids being born into this war all over. You know it, I know it. Everyone here knows it. Hell, that was us. I'm not doing anything I wouldn't do myself or haven't done myself. You know, if you've grown up in Bastock, like, everyone's working towards the war machine, you know, working on mechs. You know, my dad worked in those factories. None of us are not born in this war?
You could have left.
I did leave.
No, you didn't. You're still here.
Yeah, I'm trying to get us out.
I want no part of it. And I won't be any judge. I won't be any limit on what Longreach does. And if you try and force Lilac towards that thing, you will have problems with me. You understand?
Hey, where's... I've not seen you like this before, True.
It's been a hell of a weekend.
I think Longreach does speak up and says, like, even if you know how to stop that thing from being another me, Michael.
Yes?
It doesn't seem like you want to. I want to give you the respect that True has always talked about you with. But it's difficult. She said that I don't need to hold it back. And I don't want to. Find a way to make this thing something else. And mean it. Or I will walk myself out of this hangar and shoot it down.
Oh, that right.
Rest assured, Longreach, we will not make another you. I will assist Michael in the training of this new AI core. If we were to make a weapon from it, it would be extremely inadvisable to fill it with the kind of self-doubt I hear from you right now.
Mike gives Ipsy a nod.
True gives Ipsy a glare.
Yeah, wow, that was incredibly
you.
backhanded. Wow.
The fuck?
Well, this seems like not really any of my concern. I am nobody's superior officer, and this increasingly feels like an interpersonal issue. If you'll excuse me, I have to attend to the defense of the base. Out of character. Y'all are dicks! Jesus Christ. Julius doesn't care about this, but Sabriel thinks y'all are dicks.
What? True included?
Oh no, True's lovely.
Yeah.
True's never
Excellent.
done anything bad.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, Ipsy, what's your intent there? Because it for a while it sounded like you were coming down on Longreach's side, and it's suddenly...
Oh no, that was fully meant to be a switch. That was...
The fact
Yeah.
that Ipsy said training, and then immediately went, oh yeah, no, it won't be anything like you. Like, there's a connotation to that word. God.
Yeah, it just fully turned around into, like, it won't be like you because it will be a better weapon.
Because you're a little bitch.
Yeah,
Good
that's...
lord. Everybody stop being mean
Might
to
want to be a
True's
weapon.
son immediately.
If I was being informal, that would be the words I was using.
Okay.
We have so many supply points we have to use up.
We don't have to use them up. We've got them under the things. But
Yeah,
we've
we
got,
can just have them stocked.
Oh, are those the only
Yeah.
ones we have left? I thought it was those plus
Yeah.
the... Oh, okay,
No, that's it.
alright.
Nope, that's all of it.
We spent a bunch on upkeep and stuff like that, and added some
Okay.
additional
we,
things.
we all cleared our quirks, right? So that was 4 material
Yeah.
off the bat.
This
Yeah,
is
it
very
went fast.
selfish, and if someone else has anything to do with it, then that's fine, but I certainly wouldn't mind taking another training action just so I can get the level up, probably at the end of this session, but I understand if somebody has, like, something else they'd like to do.
Is that training
Hold
prowess?
on.
Yes.
Hold.
So I think you only get to do that once.
Is there anything else we want from this scene while we're here?
First, we're actually getting ahead of ourselves because we forgot that was Ipsay's downtime action to work on a long-term project, and we haven't actually resolved that. And I had something I want to say about, which is, like, the way this conversation has ended, if I'm being honest with, like, fiction, at some point during a long-term project, Longreach tries to destroy it. Is everyone understanding of this and proceeding regardless?
Sure.
I think that's narratively interesting.
I'm fine going down that road narratively.
I also think that's narratively interesting. I think it also gives a little bit of time for the long-term project to cook,
Yep.
and for us to see what that looks like, which I do not think is a bad thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw some dice at it now, but, like, it's an 8 o'clock, right? And,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Can I make a suggestion regarding that long-term project?
Mm-hmm.
Is the first roll, like, a social roll, just to, like, see how, like, if you got anyone on your side there?
That's exactly what I was about to suggest, that, like, this is, like, your first meeting of figuring out, you know, your mission statement for the project. You know?
Yeah, we start off with the design brief,
if you'd rather get straight into the text
I'm
stuff,
sure
that's
not
fine.
bad at that. I mean, my read on how that conversation ended is this is a project that me and Mike want to work on, and not really anyone else from the squad.
To be clear, there is a version of that project where a bunch of the progress is not text stuff, but interacting with Longreach to devise an AI training process where they are satisfied it differs significantly from what made them. You did not choose that.
No.
Because it's clear that you have no interest in pursuing it. Okay. Yeah, what do you want to roll for progress on this, Ipso?
I think it's just going to be probably an interface action.
Alright, yeah, go ahead. It sounds like you might have help from someone.
Yes, you can have a help from me.
Yeah. Can I also suggest, because we need to name the long-term project, either exploit AI core or weaponize AI core?
Exploit sounds worse. We should probably go with
Yeah. No, you should go with that.
Yeah, we should be,
That is a 5.
2 ticks, quarter of the way there. Well then. I know Julius has a proposal. Does anyone else have any downtime actions they want to take?
On my radar we've got the existing long-term project to discover a back passage into Hestial Spaceport. Getting that filled, I think, would probably be useful, depending on when that mission comes up. So I'd be tempted for either Mike or anyone who would make sense to spend an action taking care of that.
Yeah, it's also a rare thing that everyone in the squad can agree on. Also, incidentally, Sabriel, Matt is correct. You can only train each XP track once per downtime. This came up because we wanted to know whether Enhance was an exception, which it is.
Oh, that is very interesting. Okay, cool. Well, then I have nothing specific to do, and I think that's a great idea. I'm happy to help Mike also, because maybe True and Mike aren't on great terms right now.
My pitch, I suppose, was for Mike to do it and True to help, and it to just be them walking through sewer tunnels and shit in total silence.
Oh, that's very funny. No, you should do that.
It's
sure.
It can be the entire squad doing it, in fairness, and it's still in
no,
total
it's
steady
way
silence.
funnier if it's Mike and True, and that's also the
All right.
last image that we get from this session.
Yes, the credits are rolling as we're doing this.
Oh God.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of role is this? Because it might make more sense for True to do it and Mike to assist.
Yeah, I mean, we were, probing the sewers and stuff last time, but, it could be all sorts. It could be studying maps. It could be going to, an information broker or something.
I've got a point in study.
I also have a point in study, so... But you'd have an additional die from True helping you, right?
I'm a big fan of the sewer image, though.
I have a point in Prowl. We could do Prowl, do a little bit sneak in behind Joe Evangelion lines.
Mm-hmm.
Is there there's a part of me that wants to say, let's just plug the sewer maps into the AI core. But I don't think that's actually... Mike, I think Mike thinks about bringing this up, but then doesn't. Yeah, let's roll... Prowl. I like Prowl. I can assist you on a Prowl.
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Am I rolling Prowl TD then?
Yeah, I'm just going to delete one of these. This is long-term project, so it's a personnel, so I'm just going to delete one of those.
Sounds good. And that's a 6 and a 5.
Damn.
That fills it.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah. Huh.
Do you have any strong feelings in terms of what we've discovered here? Because I think I have a pitch.
So the goal is, find a hidden passage to the airport, to the spaceport, right?
Or, into the spaceport especially, I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, what's your pitch?
So, my pitch is, you know how the end of the line is a prefab? It's something that was dropped from orbit?
Yeah.
What if Hestial Spaceport was the same? And so there's still, vents and access tunnels and maybe even engines that have just been kind of buried beneath the surface, but that were originally used to move the spaceport into place. And, basically sometimes they would just prefab full spaceports on a massive assembly line somewhere and then drop them from orbit.
I have a variation on that, which is what if, when they dropped it there, they demolished the building that used to be there, but not its basement? What if there's, a sort of counterpart to the end of the line? There's, a really weird basement underneath it.
What if it used to be a club? It's got DJ stuff down there and all that kind of business, like an underground club, and that could be an interesting scene for coming up.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, into that.
Yeah.
Or something else that might be an interesting thing to go through. But...
Yeah.
No, I like the texture of that. Sick. So it's us, looking around this huge empty space. You can definitely see that, like, the, walls and floor are of a totally different texture to the ceiling. So, like, the ceiling is just, like, flat white concrete by comparison. And, maybe you can still, like, feel the rumble slightly of the camera as, like, ships are taking off from the spaceport.
Yeah. I think the other image I like here is the final piece of the puzzle is that you're like, we can't figure out how to make this happen. And then, of course, it hasn't appeared in our game yet, but the Hestial Sewer Complex is a region here, which has presumably seen combat. And I can't imagine many RVs can fit in there, but maybe some like lighter recon stuff can. So I love the idea that the missing piece of puzzles, you're just like, oh, we can't figure out how this would practically work. And I just love the image of like turning a corner and seeing a bit where like there's just this wreck of an RV with like a sword that like with its last breath was just like plowed through a wall to create the passage that you need, and it's just like pointing a sword through it like a signpost.
We've had this very awkward walk of like True and Michael, and like this is a long-term project. We've put a lot of ticks into a lot of effort into doing it, and it's like, True's like, yeah, I guess we found it, and like the camera's just panning away in the darkness, making them look very small at this big sword going in there. We just hear, yeah, go team.
Thanks for listening to CalazCon. This episode was edited and sound balanced by Christine Blight. You can reach her for voice acting at cvblight@gmail.com. The show's music is by Devin Nelson. You can find them on all social media at Devin Decibel. If you'd like to support CalazCon, you can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/CalazCon. Please tell your friends about the show too. Remember, all glory to Calazar.